Red.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever and whenever you are. This is Case File 13 of the Redacted Party Chat podcast. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Brandino Bambino. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, and I got the man with the plan. We got Vaughn. How are you doing today, Vaughn?
Freezing, as usual. It's terrible in Ohio right now. I think it's probably in the negatives. I don't know what the temp is right now, but I'm just going to assume.
Oh, I was outside all day in a house with no windows. I can tell you it most certainly feels like it. Yeah, at the end of the day, they decided they'd come in and put the windows in. So that was nice of them. That was sweet. So everybody's doing good, a little bit chilly, but all our bits and pieces are in order. So we're going to jump right into it today with our first topic of discussion. So topic one is going to be, do we subscribe to the separation of art and artists when it comes to controversial people? I'm not, whose question was this?
I came up with this one.
That is going to be Vaughn's question. So Vaughn, would you like to kick this off for us?
Certainly. So I feel like this topic or this back and forth has surfaced relatively recently, kind of in the height of the digital age where everyone's online and we're learning. Well, there's more parasocial relationships going on, so we're learning more and more about creators and artists out there, and of course humans are the worst. So some of the terrible things that these humans are doing come to light, and that's where this kind of falls into place, where what if one of your favorite creators or artists or anyone that produces something is found out to be a terrible human being? Can you still enjoy their work knowing that they are a terrible human being? Of all the topics that we've discussed, I think this might be up there in terms of the most controversial. Having said that, I want to preface this with, we're not trying to change anyone's opinion on anything. This is purely us discussing it. Also,
we'd love to hear opinions on it, though, by all means.
Correct. Yeah, for sure. We're not telling anyone how to feel about this. This is very, very personal in terms of how you want to go about it. And I guess potential trigger warning, if depending on who we bring up, some of the stuff that they've done, it could trigger someone, but just a fair warning.
I'm telling you how to feel.
If that's the case, just mute whenever you hear Brandon's voice. I think at the core, like I said, it comes down to your own morals and how you want to spend your money. I was bouncing between some topics related to this, in that I feel like there's, I don't want to pigeonhole it, but there are people that can, of course, divide the person that's creating art and the art itself. And those people, how do I word this? I feel like people who can do that are able to hold on to the memories separately of the things that they enjoyed. And those that can do that kind of just don't even picture the artist whatsoever. And then you have another camp of people that invest so much of their morals and their thoughts and joy into the product, that even knowing that someone did something heinous kind of ruins all of those memories tied to it, which I can understand that. I think the biggest example right now is the Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling thing, in terms of her being very anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ. And I don't think I've seen one side more vocal than the other. I've actually seen it pretty 50-50 in terms of people that just can't enjoy Harry Potter anymore, and others that are like, I enjoy Harry Potter so much that I just don't think about her, and I can maybe spend the money in different ways where it doesn't benefit her. So I still haven't come to a definitive stance on my side. I have a couple more points, but I'll let one of you guys go ahead and kind of voice your side.
Yeah, I feel the same. I really don't know, because if I'm being real, raw, and uncut, it's almost like, depending on how good the thing is, as bad as that sounds, like, if the thing is really good and I can't, I'm just like, so for example, I had talked to you guys a smidge about this, but like Jeepers Creepers 1 is like one of my all-time favorite horror movies. That dude's a scumbag. Like, he is a not good guy who made that. And if anybody likes Jeepers Creepers,
I didn't even know about that either till you had brought it up the other day.
yeah, and it's like, and I've been thinking about specifically that instance because it's a movie that I really hold in high regard for its genre, and he probably did the worst thing you could possibly do. And I'm just like, man, but if I were to ever at some point in my life ever make a horror movie, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wouldn't be inspired by Jeepers Creepers. And I'm not going to sit here and lie like I wouldn't wish there were more movies like Jeepers Creepers. So it's just like I don't know. Like, it is tricky, but I think, gun to my head, it unfortunately, and maybe it's immoral, maybe it's not, maybe it's selfish. I don't know how you would word it, but it kind of depends on how good the thing might be for me. Unfortunately, like if I find out Peter Jackson is some scumbag, dog, I'm going to disassociate that so hard, because Lord of the Rings is literally perfect to me. Like, I don't know. However, though, maybe it's because I hold video games a little higher. There are like music artists that I found out stuff, and I'm like, Like, for example, for what it's worth, I never really cared for Drake one way or another. Like, no offense to anybody who likes Drake or anything, but it was always like, I feel like it's kind of whatever. But then, you find out about everything that he's been doing, and it was like a nail in the coffin. Boom, now I don't even want you on my radio. I don't even want you coming up in the shuffle or at the barbecue or nothing no more.
Right.
That was a point that I also had, in that I think it also depends on the medium that you're dealing with. If it's like a performer or someone where they're giving you something with their face, they're like a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber or something, and you find out that they are crappy, it's easier to disassociate them because their content was them. Whereas if it's an artist or a book writer or anything along those lines, there's that separation of, oh, I've never seen this person, or I don't know this person, I don't really hear them talk, that it's easier to think about just the art.
Honestly, this might have got resolved faster than I thought. I think that's exactly what it is. I think that's exactly what it is. Like the director, even though he made Jeepers Creepers, it's not like he's in there as the lead star or blah blah. It's like, and he is going to make money off of it. I don't know. I wonder how that works. Like, if you get convicted, and
you still own that property. Yeah, so you'd still, it would go to like your estate. Like, obviously it's not going on your books at the prison. You ain't buying honey buns with that money, but yeah, it still goes in your account, which, stuff like that. Like, when I look at the issue, I'm pretty good at separating the art from the artist. I do genuinely believe it can be done. I don't, and this, I kind of agree with what you guys are saying. I don't believe I think your own morals and your own outlook is really what's going to depend on how you go about that. Because, for example, like say it's a smaller studio or something like that, it's like I can easily, if it's like a direct giving money to that person, like I 100% support, not doing it if that's the case, especially like in the realm of games. I mean, really in almost any medium period, because there's always so much, there's other things you can interact with. I'm someone that is very disconnected from any online. I don't have parasocial relationships. I don't follow anybody on anything. I don't care what, you know, so and so's opinion is. It's like, yes, I tune in if it's they're talking directly about a product, but like outside of that, I'm not like, man, I just used like Kojima or something as a uh an example. It's like I don't wake up and go, man, I hope he says something about his personal views on anything, stuff like that. I don't have a personal relate. I don't care what he has to say if it doesn't involve his game. So like it's easy for me to disassociate because all these people are just faceless people to me. Like, yes, their name means something in terms of a quality product. And like but there is stuff like I pretty much don't watch Smash content anymore because the whole, it's the craziest thing. The Smash community has had nothing but controversy after controversy after controversy, everything down to the damn announcers even were, getting in trouble. And it was like, at that, it kind of deflated me. I didn't want to do anything that ingest any content that was involved with that, which is kind of another point that when I'm thinking about these things, it's like what it also depends on what in your mind constitutes like support effectively. So for example, J.K. Rowling, her views are, and I not only support but the nature of the quote unquote offense. So like J.K. Rowling, her ideas are I hate to use the term political, but more or less she's not actively harming anybody. She's not calling for, she's not genuinely directly harming anybody. She's not going out there and harming trans people or LGBTQ people. And she's not advocating for their harm. So it's like that's one of those things. It's like, yeah, I don't support a lot of the things she says, but she's not actively she's simply just speaking her mind and voicing her opinion. And then, that's like the nature of the offense. Yeah, if she did something horrible, I was never a really big Harry Potter fan, but let's say I was, I would not buy any of those future products because ultimately that would go to her estate. But she would still be, if she actually had genuinely done something to somebody, she would be locked up. But the fact that she is still present, she's not broken any laws, she's a free woman, she is still getting monetized by was it Universal Studios? Yeah, she's still getting monetized by Universal. So now it's the question of they are still signing her paychecks. So
not to interrupt, Universal and WB. Universal has the theme park, and then WB has the.
So let's say WB because I think WB is the bigger. Yeah. So yeah, Warner Brothers. It's like so Warner Brothers is going to sign her checks one way or another. Do you stop buying WB products? Period. Do you stop because you are technically funding her? Even if you buy a Bugs Bunny plushie, that money goes to Warner Brothers, and some of Warner Brothers' money goes to J.K. Rowling. So then you got to ask yourself that question: do you write off the entirety of? And that's why I bring up like a smaller studio because like that's direct funding. I'm directly giving them my money; they're directly benefiting. At what point is the cutoff point for your investment? If I'm a big fan of, like I said, other WB products, which includes like DC, so comic books and stuff, it's like, do I stop buying Batman stuff? Because WB gets a portion of that cut. WB is still signing J.K. Rowling's paychecks. They're still paying her. So that's one of those things where I think people got to think about that. If you're going to, and once again, I'm not trying to tell people what they're allowed to feel, but it's especially if someone's going to take a moral high ground, um, that's things I think they got to consider. And I understand that there's things that it gets a little dicey when it gets to things that one truly can't live without. And I know this is kind of going outside the realm of art and artist. This is more so like a moral stance on things altogether, that are like that. But it goes to things like, you know, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, you guys are hypocrites, but it's like it goes to, consider things like phones. You know, you gonna be without a phone? Because it's pretty much common knowledge that lithium mining is required for making phones. Every phone company uses lithium batteries. Not only is it incredibly inhumane labor practices, but it's incredibly harmful to the planet. So, at what point is there, there's got to be, is it, do you find a sweet spot in which you're comfortable with things? If that's the stance, like if you're taking a hard moral stance on things, do you find a sweet spot for what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept? Or do you just kind of disassociate and pretend it's not happening? Because I feel like in that aspect, I feel like one of them is honest and the other one is somewhat dishonest. I feel like it's dishonest to just kind of pretend it didn't happen. And it's more honest to say, like, not to like come at Brandon or nothing, but it's like at least he was honest. He was honest. He said, this is the point at which I'm willing to, essentially accept a certain amount of things. But that's even in the monetary aspect. Like I think separating the art from the artist should be completely acceptable when it comes to the ideological aspect. Because you brought up a good point, Brandon. If you're making a horror movie, I don't think anybody should. If I wanted to make a magical world, just because on J.K. Rowling, using her as an example, it's like if I'm making my own magic based universe, I should be able to take inspiration from one of the most successful magic-based universes ever to be conceived in history. So it's like, oh, you had it, you used ideas, so now you're a bad person. It's like that's the other. At what point do you kind of draw a line there?
Yeah, the monetary aspect did come into play in my thought too, where um, you could fool yourself into getting around your morals by just not paying for said stuff, which I guess is a viable option. You could not buy anything new for said properties and still consume it, but then that gets into the moral realm of you're still consuming content from something that might be horrible. But in the grand scheme, where this also comes down to, you'd have to be telling other people about your consumption of this bad stuff for it to, like, for others to know. Not to say you should hide this type of stuff. Like if someone has some sort of assault charge on them and you don't want to support that, you could just not support it and then not tell anyone. Or you could support it and not tell anyone. So the parasocial aspect also comes into play of like, no one would know. Like you're telling people on the internet, like you're making your stance known. So you have to live with that stance too.
Yeah, I think there's also, well, I want to say I definitely think there is a separation between somebody who has an opinion out there, like J.K. Rowling, that maybe you don't agree with, and somebody like the Jeepers Creepers guy who actually harmed somebody.
Right. No,
That
that's
is
what I was saying.
definitely a distinction, for sure. And I also think that there has to be like levels to it as well, where it's like, after finding that out about that guy, don't get me wrong, I probably would never like for example, I'm looking forward to the next Nolan movie. I would never look forward to his next movie after finding that out. But I can separate that, like, dude, I was like 8 when I saw Jeepers Creepers. I'm not looking, it just had like an impact on me to a degree. Uh, but there's also a level of, let's just use J.K. Rowling, whatever. Call me a softie. I believe in like forgiveness and kind of moving on to a degree. It's like I guarantee you every single person you've ever made eye contact with has an opinion that will boil your blood. It's like, and she's a billionaire and she's one of the most famous people that's ever existed ever. So it's like she's just on such a large scale that it's just amplified. And on top of it, I can't help but wonder how many people are after her because she's a billionaire and because she has one of the most powerful, IPs. It's like you become a target at that point. Oh, we could try to tear her down and take this. It's like because people can get mad all they want, but then that Harry Potter game is the best selling game of the year, outselling Call of Duty. So it wasn't making people too mad, obviously, to some
Right.
degree.
And that's where it's like,
and it's not to say that her opinion is right or whatever because of profit. I'm not saying that, but it's there's just a level of go ahead, Bong. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna add a little bit about her. I don't follow her very closely, so I don't know everything that she's done or said. I know it kind of on the outside, but apparently she has funded anti-trans organizations. So I don't know if that changes anyone's stance majorly. I think it still kind of falls in the line of you can subscribe to what she says or what she does and either continue supporting her and her product or not. But just as a editor's note.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to make it like
an
exclusively a J.K. Rowling thing.
Yeah, no, I was about to bring up Kanye just to throw another one out there because I
Right.
love Kanye music. Kanye's a lunatic, so
Right,
it's
right.
it's like another weird thing where Kanye is putting opinions out there to intentionally hurt people. Like he is trying to harm you, whereas like with JK, I guess if I were to compare the two, I don't really know if she's trying to hurt so much as it's just like that is how she.
Well, I was gonna
which
chime in with that because
not saying it's right or wrong, but yeah, it's like Kanye's being malicious.
Yeah, when it was initially like J.K. Rowling's situation is interesting, and like I said, I don't want to make it the J.K. Rowling show, but essentially what her stance is, from my understanding, and I get it, there's going to be people that are going to have harsh opinions on it. I'm not sticking up for J.K. Rowling. I don't give a shit about that woman. I'm just saying what she says about herself. Is her thing is she's a hardcore feminist. So it's not that she hates trans people. According to her, you can feel however you want about it. Her stance is she doesn't want women's rights to be infringed upon by trans women. She feels that as a woman, she should not, essentially she's fine with the idea of there being like, what do you call them? Not unisex bathrooms, stuff like that, but she doesn't feel that her thing is protecting women. According to her, I'll air quote it, protecting women. So yeah, in my, from my estimation, if everything is as it is, if we're going based purely off of what she's saying, and you are right, Kanye's shit is like malicious. Hers is she thinks women need protected. She thinks women need protected, and she thinks these things infringe upon, women's rights. So like, sports, stuff like that. That's her stance on it. So looking at it at face value, that's one of those things it'll come down to, obviously your personal opinions on it. But it does become, she's not doing it from a place of malice. She doesn't wish them like her, and I don't know the groups, like Vaughn said, I don't know what groups she's funding, and I don't know what they've done. I'd have to look into that. But going off what she has said, face value, she doesn't want trans people gone or anything like that. She just wants women's spaces to be women's spaces, exclusively women's spaces.
And even you saying like we'd have to look into the group she's funding in, that could turn into a rabbit hole where it's like maybe that company is doing cobalt,
and that's where it goes back to my initial point, where it's like at what point are we just going? It's making almost like a circular thing where it's like
where's the moral line?
Right, it's never good enough because this guy could have done something, but this guy did something, but this guy did something, but this guy's CEO's stepson's child did something. It's like at some point, I guess for at least me personally, it's like for your own mental health, one should erect some kind of barrier, because you can find a rabbit hole in anything.
Yeah.
especially when it comes to anything that's morally based, because it's purely ideological. It's not ones and twos and just data and statistics. It's purely ideological, and you could feel that, like even that. It's like one could say her opinion on just her having that opinion that she wants unisex bathrooms instead of women's bathrooms is exclusionary and thus harmful psychologically to someone that transitioned to a woman. It's like, okay, you could, that, and so it's one of those like, at what point do we seek to win that, and what point do we seek compromise? And I think compromise is always the right way to go when it comes to any of this, whether it be externally, but more importantly internally. You have to find compromise within yourself when it comes to this kind of stuff, because like you said, heinous crimes, hard line. I mean, obviously, I think people that do bad things should go to prison. But on the off chance somebody doesn't go to prison, either A, because they did some kind of deal, so it's like you are guilty of the thing you did, but you got out of it. It's like, I'll never support you again. Or then it goes into the realm of, did they, essentially get acquitted? And then it's the court of public opinion. Do you believe they did it, even though the court said they didn't do it? And at that point, that's when you have to decide. That's when the real moral conflict comes into play, because it's like, well, legally speaking, they didn't do anything, so you could easily write it off as, well, they were proven not to have done something. But do you hold that value true, and should you judge anybody who holds a different opinion?
Same thing with accusations. Like, before it even gets to court, too, someone will make a claim on somebody, which I'm not like saying that it's not true or anything along those lines, but those can be equally devastating to one's mental facilities, especially if it's a popular creator that made something that you've enjoyed for either a short time or your whole life. Like that, I guess that also comes into play depending on the person. If it's something that you've always had and you've grown up with it, and then you've come to find out the person killed another person potentially, then how do you reconcile that? Which also then comes into play with something we've talked about before, is voting with your wallet. Like, if your morals align with not wanting to support these people anymore, you gotta vote with your money there. Just don't give them anything. That's kind of how the world rolls, especially nowadays. So don't partake in their content. Don't purchase new things related to their franchise, stuff like that.
Right, and we've always been big on that. Oh, you had something, Brandon?
I was just clearing my throat. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I'm that will always be, end of the day, especially with the stuff we're talking about games and occasionally movies, whatever. It's your wallet is what you're going to vote with. So it's like, even if you didn't support them, and it's like Brandon said, that game was the hottest game of the year. Yeah, it didn't get any awards, and that's the thing. It didn't get any awards because of all the controversy, but it still made the most money. So that, and you can't tell me it was everybody just hate buying it to, own somebody else. It's like, there's very much people that were in the camp of, I don't like J.K. Rowling, that purchased it. And that goes with what Vaughn said. They didn't say anything, which is fine. You have no obligation. You have no obligation to disclose your personal purchasing decisions, but you do need to accept the fact that your purchasing decisions do have a real impact. And by, partaking in certain decisions with certain creators and certain companies, you are, if you have a strong stance against something, you are encouraging that by purchasing that product. Go ahead.
And not forcing your opinion on others as a whole, because that can be a slippery slope as well. Like, you attacking people online for not, again, this is not a Harry Potter stream or podcast, but attacking people for wanting to play that game is another level that I don't think we should be going down as a people, as a gaming community. Like, you can, like we said, you can disagree with the creator and what they say and do, but If someone's going to want to play that game, they're going to play the game, and don't like attack them.
Yeah, and also, for what it's worth, Harry Potter doesn't talk about any of that stuff.
And
at all.
yeah,
at all. It's not, her politics are not in the game. It's not in the movies. It's not in the books. You would have to take it upon yourself to be on the internet and search her out to find that stuff out, which, like you're saying, we live in that world, but you got to assume the vast majority of people are like, I don't even know. I don't know. All I know is the Gryffindor. They're just playing the game or watching the movie, reading the books, and that's it.
Right, especially with a big property like that. Something else that people, I think, got to keep in mind with that, and I'm not telling you, you have to set aside anything for the sake of the creators themselves, but that's the other thing where it's like it's different than the books. It's like it and I keep harping on it, but it's like, use music as an example even, but that's gaming is a very specific kind of medium. So it's in this kind of transitions over, it's one of the few properties out there that is mega popular that transitions games, movies, and literature, where if you didn't want to buy the books, that pretty much is all that's all money to her. And that's like, if that's the way you want to go, that's fine. But like gaming, not purchasing the product really doesn't punish her so much as it does the studio producing it. She didn't make those models. She didn't write that music. She didn't do any of that work. Like, those studios did all that work. So really the artist that is being punished is not the artist that, you're mad at even. That's something to keep into consideration, because a Harry Potter movie flops, it's owned by WB. Nobody gets, they take a hit, but they keep on rolling. You choose to not purchase a product out of a personal vendetta against somebody that realistically doesn't have anything to do with the product. You're shutting down a studio, because gaming is much more turbulent than movies or anything like that. Movies, like I said, movie studios, they're backed by that. It is straight WB studios. They'll be fine. But game studios, one bad game, especially, in this economy, that's it. You could tank a studio out of a vendetta against people that had nothing to do with the thing you're even mad about. So that, it's something to keep in mind, when we're considering how we're going to tackle essentially these decisions going forward in the future.
It's funny too, because it is also one of my pet peeves. It's also selective outrage in the industry. Like, who's the studio that makes what's that game called? Disco Elysium. And that studio just straight up has a giant portrait of Stalin in there in their studio. It's like, are you guys not mad about that? That's a crazy opinion to have, no?
Even Ghost of Yote, that one employee that was saying things about Charlie Kirk on Twitter.
Erica Ishii.
Yeah, because it swings both ways.
Not her. It was a developer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They said something about him, and they were eventually let go, which I understand, because it's crazy to say stuff like that. Even I support that they say it. It's more so you said it on the cusp of the release of this game, knowing full well that it's a hot topic. Like,
that is like a strategic error. Like, dude, shut up.
Right,
why would you say that?
Right, and this was part of like I was working on another question, because there was a big thing that was happening over the past couple of years where essentially community managers were just like showing their ass and essentially posting more politicized opinions, and games were suffering for it. And that's one of those scenarios where games could suffer for it. And I know some people are like, it goes along with what we're saying, art from the artist, but I think it's people also, the artists, when it comes to situations like that where they're political opinions, like fucking J.K. Rowling has more money than God, so she doesn't, she's like an outlier. She don't care. She'll cry herself to sleep on a bed full of money and wipe her tears with gold bars, so she don't care. But like, there are people whose lives would be greatly impacted by negative backlash, And I do believe that once you hit a certain point, there's accountability. It's reality, whether people like it or not. If you represent a company, especially especially in gaming, like you're a known public figure, like where we work. Like if I were to walk around with our company stuff on and do something stupid, I fully expect that I might get fired. That is, when people try to be like, that's where one of the opinions where it kind of differentiates, where I'm like, yeah, separate the art from the artist. It's like, that is a situation where it's like, you are putting the entire production in jeopardy. And whether you like it or not, I'm exactly what Vaughn said. I support your right to say it, but there could be, professional repercussions due to what you're saying. And that's something that not only should be taken into account on your part, but that should be taken into account for the rest of the studio, especially if you're a face. If you're in now, with everything being so volatile, politicized, it's like, it sucks, because it's like, I could be a freaking character designer, which is a very important job, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's not who people are like, the character designer of whatever game. So you're not like the guy everybody's looking at. But even so, it's like, now in this politicized landscape, especially with other, YouTube channels and stuff like that, whose whole thing is to kind of pick out those things and go after it. It's like, dude, you as a character designer saying something stupid, they'll be like, oh, it's a character designer. I mean, like, as the lady I just said, the Erika Ishii, she's the lead voice actress for the character in Ghost of Yotei. Realistically, she's an incredibly small cog in that machine. People were, and I think the game did pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, she put that whole production at risk, even as a small cog in the machine, because people said, I don't like what she said. I don't, what does she do? What is she a part of? If whatever she's a part of, I'm gonna do this, that, third. At the end of the day, I'm happy the game turned out well, specifically for the reasons I'm stating, because she is such a small cog. She's so unimportant, realistically, in the grand scheme of it. And it put a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people at that studio butt was real tight when, everybody started talking about boycotts, because there are, situations where it has been successful and it is over the stupidest thing. But people simply cannot control themselves when it comes to that stuff.
It's a big cancel culture era that we're in, and it's disheartening to see a community that we are in by proxy, because we enjoy gaming as a medium, to see like these groups of people do that type of stuff to people that may or may not deserve it, but just to see this dogpiling on people and having them lose their jobs that maybe didn't even deserve that type of hatred or volatility towards their person. It makes you not want to even engage with the internet as a whole, which we don't need another reason for that. But it adds to the ecosystem that we're kind of in all the time, because we like to learn new things about gaming. So it's always at the top. It's always at the forefront when something does kind of get out of hand and reach the news outlets. But maybe we'll save a cancel culture topic for later. I feel like we're kind of getting off topic.
Yeah. It's just it's a slippery slope. It's that rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, it's all semi-related, so it makes sense. At the end of the day, at least for my final point on it is, it all comes down to your personal stance, your moral, what your high ground is, what you want to spend your money on. If you don't want to support an artist because of their views, that is your total right, and I support you for doing so. But don't come at people for having an opposite view as a whole.
On my final point of it, because I'm thinking of a lot of stuff, but you remember growing up, they would always say, never talk religion, never talk politics with people, because it's always like a hot topic. I feel like when these things, like you're saying, like if the character designer has, let's even just say, a completely radical view, and whatever spectrum you want to call it, makes you mad, it makes you mad. There's just in my opinion, so long as, like we're saying, so long as you're not like for real hurting somebody, to me, it's like there just seems to be a severe lack of maturity on the internet as a complete and total whole. It's like, dude, I mean, forgiveness thing. It's like, maybe they said something stupid, but at the end of the day, you are, like you're saying, just the actress. And spoiler alert, she's allowed to have her own opinions, and she's also allowed to be wrong. If she is wrong, who knows? Maybe you're wrong. I don't even know what she was even talking about, but it's like, because I didn't go and buy Ghost of Yote for the actor. I bought Ghost of Yote to do a samurai. It's getting these. Go ahead.
And even if you did, it still doesn't justify doing anything or sending hate mail or death threats to them. So even if you are obsessed with this actress, like don't send fire her way because maybe one tweet she sent out doesn't align with your morals or anything like that. Just move on. I think that's a big problem a lot of people have nowadays is, like you said, not mature enough to just not say anything and move on.
Yeah, I think you you said something really funny one time. Me and Vaughn are like talking about people being outraged about Joel in The Last of Us 2, and it eventually got to a point where Vaughn's like, "Yeah, and it's also they're just not real people, so who cares?" It's like they're literally fake make believe. So like, what are you this angry about? Joel's not a real person, dude. Like,
Turn it
who
off.
cares? Yeah,
Right,
like,
and that's really what, like, one of the biggest, it's like, it's one of the biggest whataboutisms that there is, but it is apparently a big enough thing where it's like, I wish I could shake people into reality, like, hey, heck, it's a card, it's a character, it's the fake thing, but people, that's how people are, and I guess, like, for my last thing on it, just as my overall opinions on as a community, and my biggest example I can use for the way I look at things, and I think would help people with maturity, not saying everybody should do it, but enlistment into the service. I served, and the way I use it, and it's kind of an analogy, whatever you want to call it, you are serving with, at any given point in time, hundreds of other people with hundreds of different opinions, but the reality of it is we have a battle to fight, and separating yourself based upon, and that's why, look, I use that as an example. It's because we have something important to do, and when it comes to gaming, I feel it's the same thing. We have an obligation to ourselves and future gamers and the industry as a whole to focus on the important core issues of gaming and the industry as a whole. I know I'll preach it to the day I die. It's stuff like pro consumer practices, just overall, anything that will affect the wider industry as a whole. And I feel like to go with Vaughn's point, is choosing to attack other people and choosing to battle these realistically insignificant battles for the sake of personal pride. It distracts us from the important things. While you're busy fighting with somebody over an imaginary character, over the opinion of somebody who ultimately doesn't care, we're not unifying, because you're not going to stand next to the guy that doesn't agree with your opinions on Harry Potter. You refuse to stand with him or listen to him when he's shouting from them, and you see it all the time. That guy's shouting from the rooftops that they're robbing you blind. A company's robbing you blind and doing disgusting practices, and you're telling that guy to shut up because he disagreed with the thing that you liked 3 years ago on Twitter. It's like, that guy isn't wrong about the thing he's saying now, and you are not willing to unify with him because of this realistically petty disagreement. So that's the only thing I'd want to leave off with, is when you're in the middle of doing these things and thinking about these things and deciding to be nasty or engage in this kind of banter back and forth, are you ultimately helping the industry as a whole, or are you distracting from the larger problems that are occurring in the industry that realistically will affect you? At the end of the day, the ideals of a millionaire, billionaire, they're not going to affect you. But what will affect you is if you stop, unifying to fight against stuff, and games start becoming $100. And season passes become the standard on everything, and the season pass price starts going up, and now it's $30-$40 on $100 game, and games start getting shorter with less production time and shittier performance and all that. It's like those are the important things. So that would be my only thing to leave off on, is there's bigger battles to fight that require unification. Don't allow these petty disputes to distract you from what we really need to be locked in on.
Pick your battles. There's enough content and stuff out there that you not supporting something that you might not agree with is in your right. Don't support it and find another one of billions of hobbies out there potentially.
Yeah, I promise we've done after this. I like what you said about we have a mission. Like whoever the designer was that said the stuff about Charlie Kirk, and then the actress, like, you are sabotaging the mission whether you like it or not. That is incredibly irresponsible to say at the end of a 5-year dev cycle for a multi-million-dollar game. Like, things are politicized, things are hot, and things can be a powder keg instantly. Regardless of how you feel, that was stupid. Like, blatantly, that was dumb. And you can apply that to anybody or anything. Like, it's selfish more than stupid. Like, I guess it's
Right.
both. It's like, your opinion probably could have waited an extra week until the launch of the game. Like, you could have waited, just because you're throwing everybody under the bus.
And again, last thing, I swear, is this applies to the gaming community as a whole. Like, if you want games, like Adrian said, if you want games to continue being high quality and things that you like and enjoy and want them to evolve and you to enjoy them further down the line, like, you need to not be jerks about stuff. Don't attack devs, because they're human beings too, and they're human beings making these games. Well, for the time being, until AI ruins everything. But the good games are being made by human beings, and if you run them out with pitchforks, no one's going to make your game. So, like, you need to. You don't have to buy every single game, but if you're being a shitbag to people because you don't like one aspect of a game, or you don't like the views of someone, like, you're sabotaging it, not only for yourself but everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, we need each other, guys.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, we need each other.
Human beings, man.
Just is what it is.
And if you're conflicted on separating the artist from the art, just always remember, Snoop Dogg has confirmed bodies and represents us for the Olympics. So don't say Snoop Dogg isn't likable. Go ahead, look at me with a straight face and tell me you don't like Snoop Dogg.
That man, he's a household name. I'll give him that. I've spoken.
Name.
That man was at the Olympics. He has done everything. He's just doing side quests now, and that man has bodies. He's a Crip,
blowing blunts on the world stage.
OG Crip Daddy.
I prefer Cat Dog.
God.
Cat Dog.
What a weird show.
Yeah, dude.
Nickelodeon was, that whole era was just something special.
Yeah. Invader Zim.
Angry Beavers.
Real Monsters.
Cow and Chicken. Bangers.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Let's get
round 2.
Boot scoot on. All right, to topic number 2. So, with the rumors of Witcher 3 DLC coming this year, whether true or false, would you be interested? And is this a good way to release DLC with so much time between the launch and the DLC? So, essentially, Witcher 3 obviously came out some years back. Do you approve of this method of, hey, just release DLC pretty much at any given point in time at this point, because, at this point, that's kind of the standard that's being set. So, did Vaughn first. So, Brandon, you want to go ahead and kick this off for us?
Yeah. I think it's genius, but only for who it could work for. And so what I mean is CD Projekt and Witcher, yes, 100%. These rumors are floating around. I'm not gonna lie, I immediately bought the first Witcher book, and now I'm gonna be reading the Witchers. I started a Witcher playthrough, and now I'm like, Witcher's on my mind. I'm in a Witcher vibe, and I want them to. And I don't want to say it's not about my want. The level of success is what's going to matter. I think this will be successful for Witcher because Witcher is that type of property. Could you do this for uh, Far Cry 5? Probably not. Far Cry 6 into 7? No, because who cares? It's not what it is. Witcher has cultural relevance, and in a lot of people's opinion, is still the best open world game with one of the best stories in an RPG. So it already has that kind of, gravitas to it that it fits to be like, yeah, and they got the show, even though I guess it's not good anymore because they just got rid of the actor, but that's neither here nor there. I think if it for the right IP, it's genius. And I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'm like over the moon for Witcher because I kind of think CD Projekt has like a bone to pick because they messed up with Cyberpunk. That they're going to be like, oh yeah, no, never again. I feel like they're about to drop something devastating, and it's going to make Elder Scrolls 6 look like a Roblox game.
I think by default that it won't be another Cyberpunk because did they confirm that Witcher 4's PS5 and above only? I'd assume so. I don't think there's any way that those would be PS4
oh
or lower.
no.
So
yeah, that's we're done with releasing games on the older consoles. I think.
I think that would eliminate the worry in terms of that aspect because that I feel like last gen is the thing that really hampered Cyberpunk's initial release.
Yeah, for sure. And even, and it's also just one of those like perception is reality kind of things with Cyberpunk where you guys hyped it up for 10 years and I bought it on PS4. I loved Witcher 3. I'm one of your fans. I played that for one night and was like, nope. Whatever excuse you guys gave on what happened behind the scenes really doesn't mean nothing because I feel like you robbed me, kind of. You knew this wasn't supposed to be out. You knew this wasn't supposed to be on a PS4. So, yeah, that's neither here nor there, though. But, yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for it. I think it's a really great idea, and it would be. I guess I'll let you guys go while I think, but I'm trying to think of other franchises it would work for. Like maybe like Metal Gear Solid or something would be cool, or Death Stranding maybe if there was ever if he left Death Stranding, does Fizzant, and then when he's coming back to Death Stranding 3, he does like an interlude. That's just like, hey, what were they up to for 10 years? It's like, yeah, dude, I would totally do that and probably replay Death Stranding while I was at it.
I think it's a great idea. I realistically speaking, I think it can work for a lot of franchises. I think you're almost selling it short. I think it can work for a lot of franchises. The only requirement I think a game has to have to really quote unquote qualify for this would be like staying power. The game still has to be essentially playable by the time that DLC comes out. I don't care how long it takes for the DLC to come out. So like, for example, there's tons of games that like 10 years ago came out 10 years ago that are not good, like by today's standards. They feel very outdated, whereas The Witcher for the most part still feels good. So I prefer.
That's kind of more what I meant too. I would say that's kind of more what I meant too. I leaned more into it sounding about the story, but yeah, what you're saying, like Witcher is still considered like one of the best. Like if they were to do a interlude from Arkham Knight going into the next Batman, Arkham Knight still holds up.
Right.
It's like that. Yeah, for sure.
And I prefer and part of my support for this. I mean, I just feel like it could just work. Period. But part of my support for this is I would prefer this trend over the games as a service season pass type of trend. Because what I feel that does is that obligates a studio to pump out content, and I feel like and it's a dual-edged sword, and there's really no winning on this for me. It's either A, you had that content in reserve and ready to go, which means you didn't give me that content upon release for the sake of releasing it to me, which would piss me off because it's, essentially, to me, in my opinion, I think it's an anti-consumer practice. You withheld content that was already finished for the sake of getting me to pay for it later. But also I feel like there's only so much, like once you put that games as a service label, season pass label on it, you're on a timer. You have to, it's expected of you to pump out so much content within a amount of time that person now considers reasonable. Now, if you don't give me that expectation that new content is going to be coming within the next, few months or year or 2 years, now you have time to work and make a proper amount of content. Obviously, all this is going to fringe upon, and it's like what you're saying with like CD's got something to prove. This all fringes upon the quality of the content. If I wait, and with The Witcher 3, they're already a perfect example. The first DLC they dropped was phenomenal. People loved that DLC. It's like, okay, if you're going to essentially give me damn near a whole new game, make me wait 10 years, and I'm not, is there any price point on this, or is this still like a rumor?
It's
still
still
30.
a rumor. Oh, really? Is there
I didn't see like a formal CD Projekt post about it, but yeah. I've read around that it's going to be like 30.
It's right. All but officially confirmed. Like, it's like stockholders and retailers, all this stuff is leaking everywhere. It's like, yeah.
Right. And this all, obviously, a lot of this hinges on specifically that. It's people want this return on their investment, so it almost kind of eliminates even the ability for some of those games that are under the wing of a major studio, like the mega studios, the EAs and all that. It's like they kind of will not get that option because of the inherent greed of larger studios like that. It's like they're like, oh yeah, can we have even 2-3 years worth of hiatus in order to make a good DLC package? They're like, hell no. Like, no.
Let alone 10 years.
Right, exactly. So it sucks because I think this is a great model. I think it's instead of forcing that deadline, it's coming out when it's coming out. So it's like, essentially like a slow roast. Do you slow roast something and, make it juicy and delicious, or do you nuke it? Do you throw it in the microwave? It's like, yeah, it's food, it'll fill your stomach, I guess, but it's like, it is vastly inferior to the alternative. And I'm someone who personally believes that I would rather wait, be 10 years, I don't want 10 years to be the standard. And I'm not saying they're in the wrong for that, but I would be more than willing to not get DLC content for a game for 3-4 years after the game came out, if I knew that game content was going to be a juicy, filling, delicious piece of content.
Dragon's Dogma, please.
Right. And if this rumor, if they don't add more Gwent cards, it's trash. 0 out of 10 to me.
I was going to be very disappointed if Gwent wasn't brought up in this topic.
Oh no, it's absolutely good. It was the first thing I thought of. The second, The Witcher is. You already know how I feel about Gwent, dude. I love Gwent.
I hope the DLC is just you going to play a Gwent match in a town that it's going to be in for, and that's it.
I want a tournament, and I want them to do kind of what they did, like in the original just Witcher, where it's like I want it to be like fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, dude. I want like duel masters randomly hidden around the map. Like you go into a cave, you're fighting all these high level monsters. Like they don't tell you though. They don't tell you.
I hate that we were on the same wavelength because I was also going to say Yu-Gi-Oh, and they just have a magical duel disc that they whip out, and then you're just running down the street and you find someone, you're just like, and it just
dude, yeah. I want them to have missions because all these nerds that
go Gwent.
Gwent. All these dudes that refuse to get hip, and they're like, I want to play it for the story and the monsters. All these nerds. It's like, I want you to have like, you're just a real lengthy, nice, girthy mission. You go into a cave, you're fighting all these high level monsters, you're doing all this Witcher shit. At the very end, it's like an ancient hag. She just wants to play Gwent. She's like, I've been here since this land was dirt.
An ancient hag.
And this is it. This is the fucking thing, dude. Like, like a old, well, what was it? The elder vampires, pretty much the most powerful of creatures in The Witcher. He's like, I've come to play you in Gwent. And you're like, oh, dude, sweet. Like, I want that. So it's like, it forces you to interact with Gwent.
So crazy.
That's just me, dude. But yeah, no, they better put more Gwent content in there. Because that's what I'm here for. That's what I play The Witcher for. So they have that, and I'm happy. But no, on the real though, I really do hope they have like at least one or two dedicated Gwent missions, like seriously dedicated, like a full-on tournament.
Gwent's gonna be in there. There's no.
I mean, like a mission that requires you to play Gwent and be good at Gwent, not like how it was in the base game, which it's fine.
The final mission of Witcher 4 is the Gwent tournament.
I would normally say something ridiculous like that, and I would be down for that because I'd win. But yeah,
don't worry, guys, I got this.
Right, I would love if there was a mission where you had to play a Gwent tournament, like 8 people, and it's progressively. You just got to get beat more. You just got to get good at Gwent. You don't have to do it.
Just a castle in the distance, and literally Seto Kaiba's standing on the edge, just watching you do everything on the land. Doesn't move, just watches you the whole time.
They would have to do a full-blown like Seto Kaiba reference because everybody knows Kaiba has like the absolute sauciest entrances of anybody in any anime ever. The dude is so absurd. That dude flew in to a tournament that he was hosting on top of a jet and fucking crashed the jet, standing on the jet. He didn't fly the jet. He was standing on the jet and then just let that bitch coast into the distance and crash so he could like fucking jetpack down and just aura farm on everybody. Like, God,
is Kaiba the one with the blue eyes white dragon?
Yes.
Obelisk, the tormentor? Yeah, he was a cool cat.
He's the coolest cat. Like he's a douche nozzle initially, but like anybody kidnaps your kid brother 37 times, you'll start to be a real dick. You'll start to get Mokuba just could not help him damn self. Buy a gun. You're not good at dueling. I'm just saying, Bandit Keith pulled a gun out on Pegasus. He was the only smart one. I'll tell you that. I'll say that. Just I know we're getting off topic. I swear we'll hop back on it. But just as an aside, Pegasus invited everybody to that damn island, and then fucking Bandit Keith, just an American, being an America guy in America, doing American shit, and then some child transforms into an ancient pharaoh, some other child transforms into like some, not pharaoh, but is Bakura, turns into some super sinister son of a bitch. He was straight up just killing people.
That dude's just like, straight evil, just an evil dude.
Evil. Like, it's like people are getting their souls snatched out. Like, I came here to play cards, homie.
And he's just in the background like, I can't wait to kill all these people. It's like,
dude,
Jesus Christ, this is a card game, bro.
Bakura didn't even wait for the duels. He didn't even give a shit. That dude was like, he walked up to the security guard and just snatched his goddamn soul out. He was like, damn, dude, I didn't even get a chance to pull my deck.
And I just work here.
Yeah, 100%. If I got invited to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament and like demons and people started stealing each other's souls, I'm pulling a gun. I'm absolutely pulling a gun, dude. I did not come here for this. That guy's got magic. Everyone's like, calm down. Me calm down?
Yu-Gi boy.
That child just transformed into like a 10,000-year-old pharaoh, and I'm the crazy one. You were cool with it. Like that's your friend. He does that on the regular, and you're acting like it's normal.
That dude grew 2 feet and got a deeper voice all of a sudden. What's going on?
All the base in the world. Pegasus is straight up trapping human beings.
Yami's voice
in
is
cards.
So good, though. Yami's voice is amazing.
Oh yeah. He immediately let you know who was in charge.
It saved me. You saved my soul. He saved
him from a honestly a man with fantastic fashion sense. But anybody walks up and just teleports somebody into a card, you're getting a gun pulled on you. I'm just saying, anybody out there that's watching with this power, possibly, I may be out of cards, but I ain't out of options.
Pulling the Draco out.
No need for a gun in the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, fuck.
Vaughn, what's your opinion on the Witcher 3 DLC possibly coming out soon?
I think it's crazy and a dumb idea.
Really?
No, I agree with both of you.
Oh, okay.
I just want to
say, I gotta hear this.
Get a reaction. No,
yeah, I was ready.
I should have sold it longer, but you guys pretty much.
I think anybody who has that opinion is dumb.
I hate you.
Going on Twitter right now.
You guys hit every point that I was really gonna make on it, especially the relevance. At first I was going to disagree with your stance, but you clarified, so that redacted anything I was going to say in opposition. I do feel like it doesn't, to me, it doesn't come down to franchise relevance. I think it comes down to quality as a whole. There is some relevance that's important, like and personal preference. Like if I'm taking Far Cry, your Far Cry example, I'm not the biggest Far Cry fan. So if they announce the next one and then put out some DLC for the previous one, I'm sure there's people out there that absolutely love the latest Far Cry and will jump on that. I think they're crazy. We probably all think they're crazy in some form or fashion, but there are those subsets of people that are obsessed with Far Cry in that format and would absolutely jump for joy for that. So I can't as a whole say it is game relevant, but it really matters on the quality. Like if you put out a 10-minute gameplay for that said Far Cry DLC, then why bother? But if you're putting out like a really good expansion-esque type thing for that, and it really ties in like some newer mechanics and sets up the next game, why not?
Yeah, and well, I don't want to cut you off if you're still.
No, you can go. I'll
okay. Follow up. And the reason I used Far Cry is because the Far Cry games don't really change, and then there's so much time between Witcher 3 and Witcher 4, and the cultural relevance of Witcher. And like, so I think another good example of a franchise that could work for this is like Persona. Persona would be perfect because there's so much time between personas, and you can. I don't know if they're connected. Aren't they like Final Fantasy? Like they're not really.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's a bad example, but I guess
it would only be bad because that is such a long and integrated RPG. Like, how would you? It would be hard to really integrate some DLC with that unless it's completely devoid of the story and it's just maybe introducing something new. But
yeah, so I guess I would say the same thing for Witcher though, because dude, I have I have like 500 hours in Witcher 3, and I've never played either one of the DLCs, never touched them. So that was kind of my game plan this time, was to get into those. But from what I understand, those DLCs are separated from the main story, or no. The first one is integrated in the middle at some point. It's just like a Witcher contract. And then Blood and Wine, I think, technically takes place after. So maybe Persona is a bad example, but like maybe Elder Scrolls, like something from Skyrim to 6 would be a good,
Elder Scrolls could work. The reason it, my opinion, it works for Witcher and it doesn't really work for stuff like Persona is Witcher's like a flowing story. Like it's always ongoing. Like what you're experiencing in The Witcher is like, that's just Geralt just does that. Like the Persona story is like
a beginning, middle, end.
Beginning, middle, end. That is those kids is like saga, their entire saga. Whereas, they're getting their, discovering powers, developing powers, essentially fighting God, essentially. And then, they're done. And then it's the next game moves on to a next group. Whereas The Witcher, it's like Geralt fights world-ending monster threat. Next book, Geralt fights another threat. Next book. So it's like you could give it a DLC just because he fought something incredibly dangerous in the game. It's like that's his job. Like his literal job. This isn't a one-off thing. This is what he's going to do until he dies of old age or is killed. So it's like it's like what we talked about the James Bond thing. It's like James Bond is always doing James Bond stuff. He didn't just save the world being a super spy this one time and now he's retiring. It's like that's his Tuesday. That's just what he does. So it works for The Witcher in that sense where it's like yeah, I can totally believe Geralt fought a world-ending threat multiple times. It's what he does.
Right.
And for just on the industry side of things, when it comes to this, I like it because I think it allows studios to kind of, not only does it allow, uh, I think it would be a good opportunity for junior members of teams to kind of get work, experience working on like the DLCs, while the main group can work on the main titles.
Yeah.
I don't like where we're at right now, where everybody feels like they have to make a sequel. Like there has to be another game. We talked about Overwatch and Overwatch 2 and stuff like that, where it's like there is absolutely, and I know that's a game, those are 100% games of service games, but it's like I don't think non-games as a service games should follow that trend for the sake of making money. Because right now, there's really two perspectives on it when it comes to that really hardcore monetization models that studios are seeking. It's either A, we keep pumping out sequel after sequel after sequel after sequel, or we make it games as a service and we just keep pumping out, content. And in both those scenarios, that rapid fire of, content degrades it. And I think it's almost worse in the case of a full-blown sequel, because when you rush a full-blown sequel, people are expecting a full game. When you're expecting a full-blown sequel to a game and you're only giving these people a couple years in between games, that's much more damaging than a season, DLC that comes with a season pass being subpar. I'm more than, I don't like it, but I'd be more accepting of it. But now you're burning out studios. You're not giving people a chance to rest. You're not giving people a chance to essentially cook. You're not giving them, an opportunity to really flesh out these ideas. And then, it gives your, like I said, junior team members, they're going right from the frying pan into the fire. You're not giving them a chance to essentially learn the ropes, warm up, get familiar with the IP. And I think that's something that doing DLC in this way will allow. It'll get you, income coming in, because when games sell, you get the initial bump, but there's the residual income. Oh, the game goes on sale, game of the year editions, stuff like that. This way, you are keeping that constant, steady stream of money coming in. And then, you'll get that DLC boost at the end of it. And then while essentially a smaller team is working on that DLC, you could have, the bulk of the senior members working on the actual full-blown sequel. So in reality, it wouldn't feel like there's that big of a gap between games. You can obviously, Witcher is the outlier, but if they do start this trend and it is successful, then it could be more realistic time frame. So it's like, you release a game, a couple little DLCs, 3-4 years down the road, you release a major DLC, and then 2-3 years after that, you release a sequel. So it doesn't, in reality, there's only a 2-3 year gap between new content, which is, I feel like it'll keep people invested in your product. It'll keep reoccurring fans coming, and it'll keep the quality of the product high, which will always be the most important to me. But, looking at it from a studio standpoint, it also gives you the time to train up and get, you could stack a team. You have senior members working with junior members, really showing them the ropes and allowing them to, get their feet wet.
Yeah, it could help with attrition. With what you were describing there, it's just it really points to a lack of proper management from some of these companies, where you're just letting these groups of people go because you didn't handle the studio right. Where using that specific scenario, you could really keep pumping out content at a realistic rate and not burn people out, and kind of even it out. So, but to add to that, I think it's a good idea. Even if they didn't do specifically what you talked about, I think the idea of adding DLC, at least to games that are planning on having a sequel, is a good idea. And I was going to bring this up with Witcher specifically, but it works as a blanket statement. But it just revitalizes the the already released game. Like you're gonna get additional income even if it's on sale. Like it's money. Money's money. You'll get a boost based on what you charge for the DLC. You'll get people talking about it, which is nowadays kind of the most popular type of advertisement, just internet based communities talking about it. So it almost doesn't hurt to at least give it a try. Like if they announce an Uncharted 5 and they put out an Uncharted 4 piece of DLC, like, why
perfect.
not?
Perfect.
Right. It's harder to do it for games that aren't having a sequel, like just putting out some DLC for, like, if Witcher 4 wasn't happening and you put out a Witcher 3 DLC, it's kind of like, why do you, this is cool, but why are you doing it so late? So it's almost hampered by sequelitis. Like, are you going to put out a new game now? Like, are you get all the rumor mills going? But like, if they put out a DLC for The Order 1886, like, I would immediately think, is there a new one coming out?
That game is good.
Super good.
That game is good.
I
I truly don't get it. That was like one of the first games. I think that was the first game I played on the PlayStation, got the platinum. I had no clue what anybody was talking about. And obviously there's plenty of people that liked it, but I had the issues with that game. I didn't see any of them. I thought the game was super fun. I thought
one of the coolest endings to a game ever.
Dude.
The ending is so cool. It's like
vampires.
Dude. Vampires and him just getting up on the roof with the trench coat blowing, and they're like martial law is instilled in London, and you just hear wolves and vampires and fires breaking out and gunshots. It's like martial law London, dude. And it's just
the debate of game length is its own topic in and of itself that we've briefly talked about before, but like the quality of that game is fantastic. Like they could have maybe evolved the gameplay a little more, but in the context of how long that game is, I guess it fits what I enjoyed about it. So
that was a launch title, wasn't it? Though
came out like a year after launch. If it had my conspiracy is if it had come out at launch, it would have been successful because people are a little more tolerant. Or if it had come out a couple years later, kind of like an Evolve type situation, it would have been successful because a couple years later, all of a sudden, Hellblade is incredible, and I like Hellblade a lot. But like these games that are within the same realm of like limited in gameplay, more focus on story and visuals, it just came out at a bad time, and now we can't have anything I like.
But yeah, in terms of my side of the topic, I think it's a great idea. I think, like you said, it fits very well with this particular format of game, open world, mission based. You can kind of insert it wherever. I guess if you're tying it into Witcher 4 story more, you pretty much kind of want to do it at the end, but it's not necessary. But I think, just like I said while you were briefly gone, it revitalizes the game for not only fans of 3 as a whole, but could bring in new people that maybe didn't think about playing Witcher 3 and want to play it now, or people like you, Brandon, where you necessarily didn't invest as much time in maybe some of the DLCs, and now they want to again. Maybe it's on someone's backlog, and now it's at the forefront. I don't see a negative to this choice unless the DLC is bad, but we won't know that until it comes out. So,
and that would only be a negative for them specifically. And just as an aside, because I know we've mentioned positives, and this is really another positive, and I'm kind of looking industry wide. I think, and obviously The Witcher is an established IP before the games and all that. It's very, very well established. I think that if this does go well, specifically because of how The Witcher is structured, and this will work for The Witcher, I feel like if this works and people look at why it works for The Witcher, that I'm hoping that they recognize part of why it works is because of how well fleshed out the world is. And how because as an example, because like we're talking about the DLC, and it's like what I said for, part of the reason why it works, and it's because of who Geralt is and what the world of The Witcher is. Somewhat spoilers, I guess, for this old original DLC. It's like you come across creatures like, and I don't even have to use spoilers because I watch Witcher lore videos all the time. There's tons of like super, borderline eldritch, unbeatable beings that, realistically Geralt is at the mercy of. So it's like I said, you could 100% insert them anywhere and they would be relevant. It could be in the DLC or whatever, but it fleshes out the world better. And that's where I go with, like, it would promote them fleshing the world out better, because it's cool because you can interact with these creatures and all this stuff. And it's not about combat. It's about, essentially you knowing your role. Like, yeah, you're a Witcher, but this is, there's beings out there that would have absolutely slapped the Wild Hunt in the mouth. It's like, oh yeah, what would have happened if Geralt would have lost? They would have either ran across one of these beings that wanted them to get the fuck off their lawn, and absolutely would have sent them packing, or they would have not done anything because they would have found the events of Witcher 3 irrelevant. They're just beyond you. But that, like I said, that goes to the world fleshing out thing. It's like, I would hope that the success of this shows them, hey, if we fully flesh out this world and we fully flesh out what we want this to be, as much as I would love them to do it for the love of the game, money is king. It's like, hey, there's money to be made by making a quality product that is more than surface level deep.
And it would fund maybe a future project. So it could only help you in the long run.
Right. So I hope this sets like a solid precedent for that.
Yeah. I hope it happens more.
Yeah, and it also opens the door for whenever an inevitable Cyberpunk sequel comes out, they can do it there. Because they said like 4 or 5 times, all right, we're done updating Cyberpunk. And then they would drop something else and drop something else. And as far as like the quality of it, I have no doubt it's going to be quality. Like, even Cyberpunk, when it betrayed me, the game itself wasn't bad. It just was, it shouldn't be on a PS4. Yeah, it's just unplayable. But like the content and the story and like what it's going for is really good.
I want to play that. I still haven't played it yet. Even
you specifically will really like that game, dude. You can just do a straight up Terminator build with like literally just walk people down shotgun and then just have gorilla like metal arms and rip car doors off and throw them at people. No need to pick a lock, rip it open. Like, super cool.
Cyberpunk is one of those things where it's like, it, as me personally, I'm like, man, would I remain as human as possible? But then you see stuff like Atom Smasher and you're like, he's kind of cool. He's super cool. like do I want to essentially role play as myself and in this cyberpunk world where I would, make maybe some modifications, but not like a whole bunch of crazy ones? Or it's like, I mean,
dude, that game has some, from the little bit that I have, and I say little bit, I probably have like 60, 70 hours in it. Like, I got super hooked on it for a weekend. It was insane. I think I stayed up for like 2 days. Like, I didn't go to sleep.
I have about the same amount of hours, but I didn't poop socket like that. But I did play it.
In a minute.
I did play it probably roughly 70 or 80 hours, and I was just as invested. Like,
yeah, some of the stuff they're doing with the story in there is, I guess, and I'm also not a crazy sci-fi person, but like that is stuff I have never even remotely heard of, thought of, and I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. That might happen. Like that is not that far-fetched, honestly.
And I only fell off of it because of open world fatigue. That's more of a personal thing. Like, that game's quality is really, really good. The amount of things, like you said, you can do is bonkers. But yeah, I just got overwhelmed with the sheer amount of things you could do. I finished the story, so I did roll credits, but it's just like everything after that. I didn't play any of the DLC, so
hardest part for me with any open world game is the beginning. if I can get past the beginning, then I'm usually always pretty invested. But it's just that beginning part of any open world game where I'm like,
Let
kill,
me go.
right?
Let me go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kill 3 mud crabs. It's like, fuck, I don't want to kill mud crabs. That is, if there's one thing I can't say about any Elder Scrolls game, it is that they pretty much, you start, there's probably about literally 10 minutes of stuff you have to do, and then after that you can do whatever you want. You don't have to participate in the rest of the nonsense. That is one of the few things I can give that franchise, is it really does let me piss off and do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I don't think Cyberpunk. It doesn't. I don't remember.
Cyberpunk also has an actual story, and I know
Yeah,
the
and you
nerds
are.
out there are going
It
to be
is
like, Elder
engaging in the
Scroll has a
beginning.
story, but like,
Yeah. And just last thing, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but just on Cyberpunk, just the idea that there was the old web that got consumed by AI and went rogue and is dangerous, and no one could use it anymore, so they had to make a new internet. And then you're like, there's a group of people that like go into the old web. It's like, I can kind of believe that that this internet gets completely too out of control, and they have to like shut it down. It's too much.
It's kind of like the dark web and current web now. So
right, kind of cool. I like that. I think that's
reminds me of like the web way from Warhammer.
Yeah.
But
what's Warhammer? I've never heard of that. Stop it. Cyberpunk just scares me, man. I'm such a that is like hell to me. That is a nightmare world. Just Blade Runner, all that stuff. God have mercy. But yeah, I digress. Witcher 3 for the win.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, none of those worlds would actually be possible. We would die before we had the amount of resources required to make those worlds a feasible thing. So, you'd be dead.
No one ever said that? That's so relieving to know that that's not possible.
Oh yeah, it's just not.
Thank God.
Dude, all the
buildings. There's like no trees. There's no trees. It's like, how are we even breathing?
We would be dead. We would be
okay.
dead.
All right.
So
if
it makes you feel any better, we would all be dead before any of those worlds would be feasible in any kind of
way.
And the price of RAM to support all that is insane. No one could afford it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, those movies just put a knot in my stomach. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I'm just not even
any movie that's like everything's a desert except for like, and that's what a lot of them do, like Dread. It's like there was a nuclear war and there's nothing, not even oceans or any trees, and we all live in mega cities. It's like, okay, so this is not feasible. It's cool.
I think it just kind of switched in my brain that maybe it's just cool now, because I was always like,
there's aspects that are feasible, of course, but like to be in that exact state, like Adrian said, it would never happen.
Gotcha.
We'd all be dead by then.
Thank God. Horrifying. Yeah.
The idea of death soothes my soul.
Yeah, it really did. I was like, I hope I'm long gone before that, dude.
All right. Oh no, don't you worry. Yeah. Realistically, if any of those worlds existed, like let's say we snapped our fingers and we were in that world, realistically, it would be like all of like a year and a half before just genuinely everybody perished from lack of resources. So, all right. Well, I know we had a possible in the wings. It's up to you. I think we're at 220 right now.
We're technically at 130.
Okay. So did you want to run the last one? The third topic?
Number 3.
All right. Awesome. All right. So, you're the publisher. You can pick any dev team, and what project franchise will they work on and why? And it can be more than one if you can come up with various scenarios.
This was technically my topic, but it is your turn to start. Good. Unless you want me to start.
No, I'm good to go. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on the way I have been. I would pick Iga. I think it's Kigurashi, the Castlevania guy. And have him make me a goddamn 2D side-scrolling fucking Warhammer game, baby. Warhammer, make it like Metroid. Fucking Metroidvania Warhammer game. I am a Space Marine. I mean, and you could pick various scenarios. I don't care. This is like another situation. It's like, dude, you can do DLC all. Throw me in a infested hive city that's being taken over by. I mean, you can pick any of like the chaos factions, or you could even do like Tyranids, where the whole planet. It doesn't matter. It would just work. It would just work so good. Everything's being, because almost every race or everybody that's not, pretty much exception of like the Eldar and the Tau, but they can get it too. Fuck them. Go ahead.
Before you continue, so I can picture this in my mind. Are we going the sprite based route, or are we going like Metroid Dread route where it's 3D
Sprite based
models? Okay.
I prefer sprite based. If I mean, it wouldn't, because Bloodstain looks really good. And I liked how Metroid Dread looked. So I mean, it would be, I have a personal I have like a personal affinity for the sprite based. I would not be opposed to the 3D base, I guess.
I
but
only ask
like,
because I feel like the Warhammer would benefit from a 3D in terms of detail. Like you could see stuff better. But
right. Well, but then
this is your fantasy, so why am I?
Right.
Even...
No. Well, my thing is like you look at games like Blasphemous.
Blasphemous looks like so beautiful, dude.
Blasphemous is crazy looking, and it has a lot of imagery. A lot of religious imagery that Warhammer also has a ton of. So I think that with that, I would love that. But yeah, no, I would love just and obviously other than just loving Warhammer, I mean, I'm totally down for call it like nostalgia or what's the word I'm looking for? Fan service. Fan service. I'm all here for fan service, baby. Like 100%. Have me exploring and then getting artifacts and different weapons and stuff that I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Stuff like that. You can give me like big boss fights against
Tibbies.
Yeah, little grotesque things. I mean, there's just
Space Marine jiggle physics.
Wrong fan service. Physics. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm down for that. Give me, Sisters of Battle jiggle physics. They just give it to me.
Dead or Alive extreme.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Dead or Alive. They've
might be
gone
too much jiggle physics.
Yeah, I say they may have actually reached the event horizon of too much jiggle.
They got too close to the sun with that one.
Careful, Icarus.
Two big suns.
They're breathing, and it's like
right. So every inhale, they're just getting slapped in the face.
Like chameleon eyes. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think for me, just because I mean, I've been getting absolutely fed on Warhammer stuff, and they're gonna keep feeding me. And it's just I was thinking of that the other day because I was talking about Bloodstain, and I was excited for that to come out. And those games are the type of games that I could always throw one on and enjoy myself. I think a game like that could be done with like a smaller team and a smaller budget, which I think that would allow for more of it to get made. I guess it's like you'd see a bigger return on your investment, and therefore I'm almost guaranteed more content. So yeah, for me that's what I would specifically Iga, just because I love all the work he's done on all the Castlevania games. They're pretty much Bloodstain instantaneously became one of my favorite Metroidvanias upon playing it. There's tons of systems and upgrades and stuff like that you can implement. From that, there's tons of enemies that you could select. You can even throw in multiple groups of enemies. I think it would be really cool to do stuff like because all those games usually have like the side quests and stuff, or at least now they do, where it's like, the subtle side quests and doing things, it impacts your relationships with others. So it's like, it would be cool to see, them have, depending on the chapter of Space Marines, because there's some that really just will not fucking play ball. But it's like it would be super cool to have like a chaos incursion happen, and you're fighting this chaos incursion. And I would like to see something that's not Nurgle though. At this point, I'm done out on Nurgle. I'm pretty sure that's what the what's that other Warhammer game that came out?
You asking us?
I'm trying to think of the name of it. I know what it. I mean, it's like
Yeah, I was just playing.
Damn.
the Left 4
fire.
Dead style one, but yeah, it's I'm just nurgled out.
Like the rat one where you're killing the rats.
No, that's Vermintide.
Oh, okay.
That's OG. That's Warhammer Fantasy, which I wouldn't be opposed to either of those. I mean, I want Warhammer 40K, but Fantasy's sick as well.
A 40K Metroidvania does sound like perfect. That sounds
right.
sick.
Well, because
that does sound
like,
really, really cool.
And like I was saying, you could do stuff like if you do certain missions or do certain things in a certain order. Yeah, it works out perfectly. You can make it hyper violent. You could have big, outrageous, ridiculous boss fights. But it's like even the interpersonal relationships, because it's like, yeah, Space Marines, they are individuals and they do have their own doctrine. And it's like it is uncommon, but not unheard of for Space Marines to interact with Xenos races. So you have something like, say it's a chaos incursion and it's like Slanesh, the goddess of, or the goddess, whatever. It's like a weird hermaphrodite thing of lust and debauchery. And it's like the Eldar, who are like space elves, they hate Slanesh. So they actually created Slanesh due to becoming gross and debauched, and they were just having really gross orgies all the time, to the point where they birthed a whole chaos god into the universe by being such absolute freaks. Crazy. But and because of that, they're cursed eternally. Every time they die, unless they put their souls in these soul gems and hide them away, Slanesh will take their soul. So the whole race is cursed. So they fucking hate Slanesh. So you could do a thing where it's like, I'm here to stop this chaos incursion in a hive city, but the Eldar are here because they hate Slanesh. And it's like, I could work with them while working with other chapters, interacting with them, doing stuff for them. And it's like, you could have a thing, because you have the characters that come in and help you. It's like you have certain characters help you with certain fights, but that might, towards the ending of the game, you could come back to the main hub or whatever, and the whole time your brothers are like, you're working with the witch Xenos, and it's like you could do stuff to smooth that over. But if you ignore him for too long, he'll assume that you have turned traitor or heretic, and you come back and the Eldar are slaughtered. And now you have like a boss fight against, another Marine that thinks you're a heretic. Stuff like that. You could do stuff like that. How they have those branching paths. There's tons of opportunities for branching paths within the story, because they are multi-dimensional characters. There are, like I said, there's chapters that will work with Xenos. It has happened many times that it's like, hey, if we have a mutual enemy, if it was any other day of the week, I'd smash your skull like a grape. But right now, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's work together on this one. And then after that, you got about 15 seconds to get out of my sight. So I would super love that. I would super dig that. I personally prefer the pixel art.
That seems sick.
Yeah, thinking based off of just like the blasphemous type of thing, because all Warhammer stuff is steeped in, religious, iconography. So I think that would be dope. And then have him run it, so you got all the systems, the extra inventory stuff. So that's mine. That's mine. Obviously, it was going to be either Warhammer or probably Gwent related, but it's Warhammer. I guess Vaughn.
I had two. First one, it would be IO Interactive. And both of mine are picking on Ubisoft, so forewarned for this. IO Interactive works on a Splinter Cell game. Splinter Cell is essentially dead. I haven't seen any news on anything. I'm also not actively looking for Splinter Cell stuff, so there could be rumors out there, but as far as I'm aware, I haven't heard anything. Were you gonna say something?
I was just saying, it like rumors will pop up, and then it'll be like, oh, it's canceled. Oh, it's coming back. Oh, it's canceled. Like for at least the last 3 to 5 years. It's like, whatever, dude. Like
even better. So IO can take that franchise and pull some things from Hitman, pull some things from 007, and make a solid third-person single player focused shooter with Sam. Like, it's been long enough where someone needs to do something with that, and I don't feel like Ubisoft cares enough for it at this point. So farm it out to somebody. Pull in some of those Hitman contract style things, like he's going on some secret missions. That'd be super cool in various locations. It could be vastly different. It doesn't even have to tie into the story that you create. It could be when he's young. It could be when he's middle aged. It could be when he's a fucking old man Snake style. There's endless things you could do with Sam at this point. But I think IO could really pull that franchise from the grave and do something cool with it, because there are people out there that want it. Like, that was a cool series. So,
dude, Splinter Cell Conviction is so sick.
Oh yeah,
and so is Double Agent. Both of those games are awesome. I still whistle like that to this day.
I looked into it real quick. The Splinter Cell remake team rehired the original director of Splinter Cell for the project. So I mean, it's not anything crazy, but it is something. They definitely, something is kind of happening. I don't know if it's major, but
my fear for Splinter Cell is that it gets the Dead Space treatment, where it's like super high quality, awesome, and then it doesn't meet sales. And then they're like, "See, you guys didn't even like it. It only sold 6 million copies." Like,
I don't know
your
what you want.
greed sickens me.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But yeah, Conviction was super cool. I remember when that was first
Super
announced.
sick.
I'm like, that's a cool concept, and just like the interrogation stuff on the wall as a graphic, I'm like, that's super stylized. Like, no one's done that
And
at
the
all.
camera, when you're whooping people and he's like smashing them in the urinal, he's like, "I am not playing with you."
Like,
Yeah.
yes, beat them up.
He's dogging people in that. Yeah, it's cool.
And then my second one was Insomniac take on Prince of Persia.
That's unique. That's
And
cool.
I say that because you have the knowledge of Spider-Man. You have the knowledge of Sunset Overdrive. You have Ratchet and Clank. So pull the mobility of Spider-Man and Sunset into the platforming of Prince of Persia, and then pull some of the cool powers that you're doing in Ratchet and Clank with the sands, with the prince. And you already have Yuri doing the voice of Peter Parker, and Yuri did the voice of the prince in the trilogy. So it would only make sense in my mind for you to pull all that tech and make a super cool stylized platformer, because you're doing platforming in Ratchet and Clank already, and you were doing platforming in Sunset Overdrive, and the fluidity of Spider-Man is insane. So
Yeah,
give the prince that type of fluidity with platforming and swinging and jumping and all these different mechanics. Like, come on, that team would blow that series up, because again, Ubisoft is working on that remake of the first one, which cool, I guess, but like, you're not doing
the
anything.
OG one.
Yeah,
The original.
Well, not the three sprite based one where he's got a turban on and like running around. But
right.
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, which I'm excited for, because that game is fantastic. That's like a classic platformer that kind of started that whole franchise, of course. But like, it's in the realm of, oh, okay, it's another remake. Like, it's something I've played before. I know what to expect. It's going to look a lot better. It's going to sound a lot better, but you're not progressing or doing anything new with it per se. So giving those reins to Insomniac, which kind of hits every major gameplay aspect of that series.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be solid. I haven't played a Prince of Persia game in a long time. I know they released like the 2D one, or the side scroller one, and I guess it did really well. It looked fun. I remember playing Sands of Time, and especially Warrior Within. Was it? Was the second one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sick cover art.
I played
Such
the
a sick cover
hell out of that game. I got that for Christmas one year, and it was a wrap for me.
Yeah.
I loved 3.
Mm.
Yeah, those games are good. My turn.
Brandon?
Okay. So I have 3. So FromSoft does Castlevania.
So you'd like to play Castlevania.
FromSoft does Castlevania. I think obviously they nail the Gothic architecture. I would love for them to take a Sekiro approach. You only have the whip, crucifix whip. Zero in on that, and then I'd like to say that you're in one contained big castle, and I don't know, I feel like I can see them having like these majestic, beautiful, vampires that in the second phase turn into these just nightmares, complete abomination, cut themselves and just turn into demons, kind of thing.
Do I have the option of surrendering to these vampires?
Only the redheaded ones.
No, absolutely. Like Lenore from the Castlevania show. Absolutely, I'll take that L. I just want to.
Is that the one that the slave guy is with?
Yeah, she puts the ring on him, gets him, and it's jokes on you. This is exactly what I wanted from the start.
Oh no, I'm stuck in an eternity with a baddie.
I just wanted to get you to put a ring on it. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Goth baddie enslavement. Oh no. I think they could kill Castlevania. I think they could breathe some new life into it. That is assuming Konami's not doing something with it, which I assume they are. I think there was some rumors going around that they are working on a big budget new Castlevania. But FromSoft I would love to see their weird twist on it.
The only thing I would, obviously it's our, your fantasy. I would only raise you, especially if you're saying, you're throwing Sekiro out there. And it actually works way better than, I would say, do it fully Sekiro in the sense that because Sekiro did a bunch of, side weapons type of thing, all the trick weapons.
Yeah.
That's that, because I know you said focus on the whip, but it's like the side weapons is like a staple, a Belmont staple.
Oh, yeah.
Do that system of improving upon your side weapons with their weapons. So give their weapons different utilities based on what tree you branch into. So you have the axe, the crucifix, the holy water, the dagger. And I mean, you could even do the salt if you want. That's fine because it's like, and then you could even do it's a Grand Cross book or the Bible. It's like you have a solid 6 or 7 side weapons, and then do branching paths of those side weapons. Dude, if you're going to go Sekiro style, you could do that and have them do different things.
And imagine like Sekiro-esque animations, because Sekiro just has such unique animations with the way he moves. Like we've talked about it before, Sekiro moves as though his body's a vessel and his will pulls him. Like that takeoff, like the way he launches and everything. Applying that to whip combat, and then say it is a vampire and you do drench them with holy water and then pull out the Bible on them, and it's like a combo, boom, boom, and then they are on fire, and then you're just whipping them to death. Like,
which I think that would be
sick,
perfect.
dude.
I think it'd be perfect with that. Especially with, like you said, the movement, because it is, you're fighting pretty much the whole half the reason the Belmonts are able to do what they're doing is because they're scrapping. They're moving not like normal people can move.
So
and
cool.
You're fighting demons and night creatures. It's not like they're, this ain't slow motion. They're moving. So yeah, like some quick salt, So no, I think that'd be sick. That'd be pretty sick.
Give me some of that Dante Inferno crucifix type power.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Christian horror stuff is cool, man. Unfortunately, like I think it is cool, like Blasphemous and Dante's Inferno and Castlevania. Like it just lends itself to horror pretty well. The next one was and I know a lot of people probably wouldn't like this because Last of Us kind of deals with these subject matters to a degree, but I would love to see Naughty Dog take on like almost like a Call of Duty. I would love to see their take on a Brothers in Arms, Medal of Honor, War, kind of thing. I've felt this for like years.
I also weirdly thought about Naughty Dog doing something in first person.
Yeah. I think it'd be super cool to see their kind of take, not only on first person, but um, just the camaraderie of something like that. And, you know, have you play as somebody that is literally like the 18-year-old who gets drafted. And it is that journey all the way until you get back home. Almost like a Lord of the Rings thing where Frodo comes home and he's sitting at the birthday party or at the or at the bar like, dog, we're just not the same anymore. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I would love to see Naughty Dog's take on something like that.
Right. And there's something about Naughty Dog's storytelling that I really appreciate. I feel like a lot of games they really either A, you're blank slate and you're kind of just doing whatever, or it's like it's all about choices. Whereas I like that Naughty Dog is like it is a story about a character. Like you are, and I think that lends itself to that style of game where it's like Spec Ops: The Line kind of did a good job of you could kind of make choices, but I think games specifically of that nature, I think they really benefit from, having a character, a fleshed out character, not a it's your guy and you can pick him. It's like, no, this is Joel. This is Joel's journey. These are the decisions Joel's going to make. Agree with him, disagree with them. That's not the point. The point is to just witness his journey that he's taking.
I also think that Naughty Dog could really blur that line between those choices that you're making, because the toughest element of choice driven mechanics is they either are made apparently known, or the way it's crafted is you can tell that this is a choice that's going to affect something. And I want to get to a point where I don't know when that trigger is, and I can't tell when that's going to happen. So for the achievement person in me, it's like that's annoying as hell. But in terms of the narrative loving part of my brain is like, I don't want to know that this impacted my choice until it like directly affects me as a whole. And I think games are not, I don't want to say not quite to that point, because I think just no one's ever done it yet.
Another one popped up in my head, honestly, while I was sitting here. I'll just throw it out there real quick.
Got time.
The people that make Sifu should make a John Wick game. That'd be sick. That'd be absolutely sick.
I think someone is making a formal John Wick game. Like, ignoring the one that is grid based and more tactical, which I enjoyed that one. I think there is an actual 3D based John Wick game coming out.
Yeah, that will be super sick.
I'll look it up to see who's actually making it.
Just because we're kind of doing an honorable mention real quick. And there's not like a whole lot to it. I don't want it to be like a remake, and I don't want it to be the same game. I would love to see Crysis do a Turok game. Fuck everybody. I liked that Turok game that came out for the 360. I thought it was fun.
Dude, jumping on the back of raptors and stabbing them. Dude, it's crazy.
Like I said, I don't want a 1-for-1 remake, but I would love to see them improve upon things that that game was lacking in. But I think I've never seen somebody make a jungle the way those people make a freaking jungle.
The Crysis team.
Yeah, I feel like they would do a phenomenal job of making that. But yeah, that was one. It was like I really didn't have a lot of input on it because I liked that game. But also they're pretty much second to none in bow-based mechanics. Because the bow in all the Crysis games are top notch. So
you're gonna make especially in 3.
You're gonna make any game where the main character primarily uses a bow. I feel like those people are the people to talk to. Bows in the jungle. That's Crytek all day. So
talking about talk.
That is a very impressive meme face you got there.
Oh, dude, yeah, that eyebrow is up to the rim of the hat.
I almost can't look at it long because it weirds me out.
It's going on all the thumbnails.
But back to the John Wick part, Lionsgate executive confirmed that there is a AAA John Wick game in development.
AAA.
Said it's going to be announced soon, alongside multiple others, including one based on the Saw IP, which I don't care about.
They already did a Saw game. What the fuck?
And it's rumored to be a big budget AAA action experience. And when I say soon, this story came out on the 31st of December. So
2026 is going to be a hot one.
Yeah, 2026 is looking to be nuts. I actually think that probably the next 3 years are about to be nuts. Really, really good stuff. I think it's going to finally hit its kind of stride. But on the subject of Turok, that new Turok is going to be awesome. I just want you guys to know, I'm calling it now. You can play in first person. You can play in third person. It's giant open maze maps like the original. You're finding keys. You can play completely single player or with co-op.
Oh.
It looks absolutely awesome. And it looks like they took a lot of inspiration from specifically Doom and Space Marine. You're in third person and you're hacking them, and then when you're in first person, and it looks great. It looks so good.
Can I turn on a greenish white fog of war?
I hope so.
It's needed.
It is. It turns the whole game into a jump scare.
For draw distance, it's got 10 feet ahead of you, and a raptor comes launching out of a canyon.
Yeah.
You're like, ah! It used to scare the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah, and then my last one was inspired by Marvel Tokon that's coming out, that fighting game. I think more Japanese developers need to get a hold of some of these American properties. I would love to see Capcom get a hold of Marvel and or DC properties. Capcom with a Batman game, Capcom with an Iron Man game, Capcom with anything like that, I think could be super sick.
So not like a fighter, but just like
not necessarily. Yeah, just Capcom. Capcom. Imagine Capcom making an Iron Man game. I don't know what that would be, but my mind goes Vanquish, kind of. Well, I guess that's what's it called? Whatever that team, Platinum. But just their level of animation and their understanding of action and putting that Japanese twist on it, man. I don't care really what anybody says. I mean, and I'm sure this isn't a hot take by any stretch, but the Japanese just understand action on a completely different level that the Americans, we unfortunately just don't. They know how to make it look sick. And even, even like Spider-Man or Wolverine, as sick as those look, there's a part of me that's like, how would a Japanese developer make this look? How would this look Japanese? Japanesed out. Bear with me, I was trying to finish.
Ex-commie.
Yeah. Because I think, even when I was playing Marvel Rivals, just their designs, I think those are some of the coolest designs I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
For a lot of those characters. And I think they're a Chinese-based studio.
Yeah.
But even still,
it's the Western urge to ground everything. It's
what's the deal with that,
man? I don't want it grounded. I want it to be fantastical. I want it. Obviously, every once in a while, it applies in a way, like Battlefield, stuff like that. It's that I would rather that be grounded, but it's okay to, and this kind of is a callback to something we talked about before, where it's I want studios that are known for things to experiment. I think we were talking about Capcom specifically, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And it's I get it that we're known for this, but it's it's okay to get outside the comfort zone. Just because a grounded game did well doesn't mean that we need to be stuck in this mindset of ground everything. It's okay to get a little crazy.
I think Black Myth Wukong and all these Chinese games are proving that tenfold. Dude, he's riding a cloud. As
Korea and China have done all that. What's the something Immortals game that was at the Game Awards? It was they were essentially controlling the elements. It was a early look at it.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Give the Yakuza team Blade or something. That'd be super insane.
Yeah. I don't even know. I can't even.
I was trying to think.
I'm not familiar enough with Yakuza, though.
I was trying to think of something that would fit that engine and that play style in Marvel or DC. Batman's too vertical. Like, I think the Yakuza team could do some cool combat with Batman, but they haven't really done a vertical open world type thing like that. Like, you could do an open world if Batman never leaves the ground, but that's not his character. So I was trying to think of something that, like, I can't even. Blade would be the coolest, just because we haven't really had a Blade game. I know they're working on one, but
yeah, what's up with that, man? I am hyped for that. That if it ever actually comes out, that's in that Wolverine level.
Oh, I had it all wrong. It's the God Slayer. That was it. I had it all wrong. The God Slayer. I'd look it up if you get a chance. It looks super fucking cool.
But yeah, that Blade game, like, dude, if that does ever come out, that is right there with Wolverine for me. Like, you've got Arcane working on Blade.
Club Blade.
Dude,
they better have that. They better have that song in there, dude. They better have the Blade soundtrack in there.
If Marvel Rivals can add a very close version of that song, the Blade game better have that song in there.
It's in its full glory.
I don't know if this is a hot take. He looks terrible in Marvel Rivals. I hate his outfit.
I haven't looked at. I haven't even. I stopped playing when they like the season where he was essentially going to be coming out after the season when they introduced like the castle map and stuff. That was the last season I played of that game. Not that I thought it was bad. I was Marvel rivaled out. I got everything that I was looking to get out of that game. I was not interested in continuing.
I also agree with his outfit. His default outfit is very, very bad. If they would have added like the first movie version as like a skin, they would have redeemed it some for me, because I've just switched to that. But yeah, that design isn't very good.
It's also, I guess, in their defense, it is also like, if it ain't Wesley Snipes, you're not Blade. Like, it's like seeing Wolverine not as Hugh Jackman. It's like, although he doesn't look too bad in the new game. I can probably get used to that. He actually looks pretty solid.
Yeah, as long as they don't change it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, why did they do that in Spider-Man? I feel like I still haven't gotten used to it, and it's like years later. And like every time I see Spider-Man 2, I'm like, why do you look lame now?
Yeah, he's a mixture of Tom Holland and Toby, and it's like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, no. I really like
you're not playing as Peter very often, so I can kind of separate that. But it's still it's jarring having seen the original version and then seeing that updated version and then justifying the change. Like, no, thank you.
On that note, I'm gonna give Spider-Man 2 another shot. I have it in my wish list. The next time it goes on sale, I'm gonna get it. But man, I had a appalling first impression with that game. I hated the Sandman stuff was sick. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then they were like, you want to do chores with Mary Jane? You want to ride bikes with Harry? You want to reminisce in your high school and shoot hoops with basketball mini games? I'm like, call me old fashioned. I want to be Spider-Man, dude. I mean, I don't want to do any of this.
I hate superhero game to be a superhero.
I remember some of that. And I can get on board with some of that. Yeah, I don't remember the basketball stuff, but I'm also a bigger Spider-Man fan than most other superheroes, so I might just be biased.
I don't really have any particular love for Spider-Man, so
I have nostalgia for the Tobey one. I like Tobey. I think that's what it is. I like the Tobey Spider-Mans, and then it's like, I do like Andrew Garfield's though too. I do like Garfield's. Tom Holland.
I was never a huge Spider-Man fan as a character, so I don't think he's. I don't think he's a poorly written character. I've never been a fan.
So don't get me started on the Tom Holland Spider-Man. That would.
Do you not like him?
No, I think it's a piss poor iteration of Spider-Man, because it took you 3 whole movies to get to the point that the other 2 started with. It's like you're just you're a mini Iron Man because you haven't done anything for yourself. I know this is a
Mr. Stark,
and that's the other thing too. God. Where it's like Peter Parker is like Spider-Man's not like that. He's not, from my recollection of any of the comics, he's not some nervous dweeb. Like, if anything, he's low key, just always confident. Like, he's he's the superhero that's pretty much always talking shit while he beats the hell out of you.
It's like Garfield kind of
in control of the situation.
I do like Garfield for that reason. Like when he's webbing the dude up and the dude pulls a knife out, he's like, "Oh God, no, not the knife!" Like,
right,
that stuff's good, you know.
Yeah, it's just Tom Holland's version didn't do anything for himself as a whole until No Way Home, and that's technically is that the third one in his series?
I think that's
technically.
Is that the multiverse one where they all come together?
Yeah.
That one was solid, but not because of him.
Right.
Like, they undersell Peter Parker's competency, like separating the characters. Like Vaughn said, he doesn't do anything. It's like Peter Parker in comics and other renditions of Spider-Man. It's like he's not just essentially a useless doofus. He is a very intelligent, very capable person.
I'm a broken record because I've said this multiple times, but Tobey's Peter Parker is good. Garfield's Spider-Man is good. And then Tom Holland's both are bad.
Yeah, no,
it's
just
the worst
of
both worlds. Iron Man gave you everything, and it's not until the end of No Way Home that we're going to kind of start your story over again, and you're going to be the actual
checked right out.
It's like everyone's forgotten. Spoilers for No Way Home if you haven't seen it, and if you haven't, how dare you? Like no one remembers him, so he's just like a ghost. So he's going to reinvent himself, and something's going to happen, and it's going to be like the prior ones didn't happen.
Right. And even in that movie, just as to kind of go along with what you're saying, it's like once you've got the Iron Spider suit, the suit did most of the shit. Like he wasn't even being Spider-Man. Well, it's not even. I mean, yeah, it is ugly, but it's like the suit. The suit was hard carrying him through like so much of that shit. It's like it's auto solving all his problems. It's like, okay, are you gonna do anything? Because once again, it's like, shit. Tony Stark could have just made a fucking Iron Spider robot at this point with nanomachines, and it would have did everything that you're doing right now, besides be awkward and weird.
Okay, that's my rant. I'll save that rant for another day because God, I hate him.
Yeah, he's
What? So does anybody else?
Sorry,
what?
Didn't Brandon have one more?
It was just the Capcom getting a hold of a Marvel or maybe they could get a hold of Spider-Man and make a man out of him. That'd be cool. So sick of him being an adolescent. It's so annoying.
Spider-Man,
grow up, Spider-Man, grow up.
Yeah, I'd love an Agent Venom game. You're fucking running around shooting, rooting, tooting, and shooting with Venom powers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. On a side note, what's the Miles Morales Into the Spider-Verse, the first one? That was cool. I like that they put like a Spider-Man in there that actually had something happen to him, and he wasn't just like a twerp the whole time. Like that was cool. I dug that. That was like one of the cooler twists on Spider-Man in a while.
Agreed.
But yeah. Well, if everybody is satisfied, I forgot to mention at the beginning, and I'm sure Vaughn has already at this point put up our socials and such. They are in a place, a location. They are somewhere. Look for them, click on them, share them with all your friends and families and whoever else. I'm going to point to my left. They might be there, they might not be. I don't know. But like I said, he's probably thrown them up at some point multiple times. I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but please go on there, click on there, all the notifications, subscriptions, and share them. Your viewership is very much appreciated, and the more people we get in here, the more topics we can get flowing, the more we can yap about stuff. So thank you so much. But that's going to be it for Case File 13. I have been your host, Adrian.
Brandon.
Vaughn.
All right. We are signing off. You guys have a lovely evening.
Take care, y'all.
Goodbye.
Does anybody mind sending? Oh, you already see. You know, this is why she left me for you. I can't even be mad at her. This is that shit I'm talking about.
Sheer efficiency.
Sheer efficiency.